God formed man of the dust of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. Spirit comes from the word spirare, meaning to breathe. In ancient times, breathing is filling the body with invisible essence essential for life and speech. These invisible essence help produce names which are the spirit of the object. Some of you might think these essence are just the movement of air and its chemical compositions, but this has nothing to do with what ancients regard as breath. What they were pointing to is pure patterns. Patterns are distinguishable and repeating, but non-material forms, such as unity and identities, emotions and principalities, purpose and ideology, and complex ideas like mathematics. Physical things can represent spirits. For example, an actual pineapple is the most grounded manifestation of the fruit, where graphic designs, traditional drawings, and the name are softer. What is common between these four, despite differences of materials, is the spirit of the pineapple, which is our memories, its purpose, shape, and culture. Another example is a school building, representing the organization. The organization making everything work, the logo symbolizing both, then the entire pattern of the school, which is the behavior of the place, organization, students, and how the logo is used. Words can be carved in stones, written in papers, turned into neon lights, and spoken using vibrating air. But none of these things are truly the word. A statue of Rizal can depict him, making everyone remember his spirit, like how his body supported his purpose and goals by moving, like the books he and his followers wrote, articulating his ideas and paths, like the speeches and music created by his followers, expressing the mode of being he showed us, and his achievements that shaped our country. Then the people or group can fully embody the plans, instructions, and belief of an avatar or image of the god of a certain ideology. Spirits are often described as wind because it's invisible but affects the world, sky because the sun, the moon, the weather are mysterious principalities directing lives and environment, above because it unites and guides people, fire and light because it is formless and it helps us see the world, like how names help us identify objects. Keep in mind, these are not scientific description, but an expression of how we experience the world. Spirits are formless patterns. It is the heavenly half of the world, while earth is the formless and meaningless void. Both of these exist before creation in Genesis 1. Since tomorrow is class, I don't have enough time to animate the rest of this essay, so I'm just going to read it. Here are some examples of the Spirit. First, uniting essence. It is what binds multiplicity, and it is the pattern that relates different objects. Imagine our capacity to identify a pen when it is made up of different parts, like the barrel, the ink chamber, the mechanism, not to mention the chemical compositions. Even when it's broken, dismantled, made of unrelated materials, or when it's drawn, written, filmed, there is something in common between all of these things that will make us recognize that it's a pen. This is no other than its purpose, shape, scale, and our ability to hold it. These essence would be the spirit of the pen. And it's not made of matter, it's not made of atoms. Atoms might represent them, but they are not these things. Human soul. Unlike the pen, this is what makes you unique from other people. It is what helps people identify you, such as you're messaging them in Facebook when you only really see graphic motions and zeros and ones, when you video call them in an LCD screen, or when you write a letter to them. All of these forms of socializations is not face to face. You don't see the actual object made of atoms. But you're able to recog- but they're able to recognize you.
It's no other than the memories, the behavioral pattern, the types of clothes you wear, the your habits, your way of speaking, your identity and beliefs. That's the spirit. Supernatural creatures. Aside from you, there are also spirits that seems intelligent such as ghosts and monsters. Just like different kinds of pen shows recognizable pattern, these ghost stories also have recurring events, which is recognizable, such as people getting lost, smelling smoke, rustling trees, and seeing humanoid figures, also screaming and sound of walking. Even more, being in the dark and in the unknown activates our fight and flight response, such as if you are encountering a predator. Then, because each of these repeating criteria feels like it's done by an intelligent creature, as these stories are passed down, the visual representation that emerges from all of these stories becomes the name, becomes the representation or image of this specific phenomenon. So these ghost stories, vampire stories, capre, white ladies are representations of different events that keeps on happening. So these creatures are obviously not organisms with their own nervous system, but they are what you will experience when you're in that phenomenon. When you're in that event, what will come up in your brain is like, it's, oh wait, that's capre, oh that's vampire, that's, oh, I'm encountering the white lady, because it fits. Spirit of the dead. When the body dies, what is left is the spirit, and in rare occasions the spirit can manifest itself in the world. A good example is when a mother visited her child's grave and a bird lands on her hands, as if it's comforting her. It can be interpreted as the spirit of the child because the entire phenomenon did miraculously align with the will of her deceased son, just like a human body aligns itself with the will of the spirit or consciousness. Unless the child is the kind of person who won't comfort his grieving mother, anyone in that scenario would see, feel, experience the presence of the child. And this presence is solely that child's alone, because no one would notice the miracle of this event if the child didn't leave something in the world. The reason everyone noticed and put their attention on the bird is because of the memories and behavioral pattern that the child left. And that is what they saw. That's precisely what they experienced. Angels, demons, and gods as groups and identities. Another intelligent spirit, similar to the previous example, are angels, demons, and lesser gods, usually those in older myths. Now, because spirits are incorporeal in nature, they require a body. The body could be recurring phenomena like we talked about, but the body can also be yours. We already discussed that behavioral patterns, emotions, and beliefs and ideologies are spirits. And we know individuals often get captured by these things through repeating habits, addiction, and submitting yourself to it. When these abstract things capture your soul, you will experience being possessed. Just imagine what would the ancient people think of people who suddenly gets angry or happy, or those who can't stop doing drugs or other addicting activities. What would they see if the person they know suddenly acted strange or differently after joining a group? And then seeing this person acting in a similar way with other members of the group. What they will see is a spirit capturing or possessing them in a good or bad way. So, to be captured by a spirit is really being convinced to put them above your prioritization. Now, the reason they are alive is because humans are alive. The people who embody them does the necessary decisions like our body acting in accordance to our will. That is what makes them gods, and that is why mythological gods, aside from the Abrahamic religions, are called gods of war, gods of love or nature, etc. All of these gods are alive. You can encounter them when you see people worshiping or prioritizing them above everything else. because they would become the body of the god of this ideology. Now, in Abrahamic religions, they would not be called gods, but rather angels or demons, depending if these things are put in the highest, higher than God, or it or if it participates in the hierarchy of God as an angel of God. Another good examples are the angels of the cities or community. Just like an individual can have distinct recurring patterns, a city, school, country, and race can also have a uniting singular spirit. These spirits are very intelligent because the bodies, which are the humans, are a lot more organized, where each of them literally acts like a body part. Imagine a country making very big decisions, such as declaring war, visiting another country, joining the Olympics, going to the UN meetings, etc. All of that is possible because the people living in that country is acting as its body, as its representation, as its representator. And the organized people maintaining the laws and enforcing them are those who will make big decisions. And they will do it in the name for their country. And that is the spirit. The culture, the history, the land, the identity, and our loved ones is all encapsulated in that one abstract word, country. And that's how schools works as well, how cities works, it's how race works. They all have this distinct spirit, and they're angels if they're looking up.